late. My whole day's been kind of crazy because I woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't go back to sleep. So I ended up doing a live, but definitely not like today. It's just thrown my day completely, and I mean completely off. So I hope everybody's doing well. I'll wait for a few people to get into chat, and then we'll start going through our daily breaking news that I found. I've got about 5 different articles here. They are pretty wild in and of himself. There's just some concerning stuff. And I have a topic of conversation that we're going to probably dive right into. Hey, Dawn, it's nice to see you. I hope you are doing well. The real Me Too is up in the house. Carla, Eeyore Blue, Panda Bear Mom, Mr. and Mrs. Car Guy, it's great to see you. It's great to see you, me and you, Nani, Deanna, Carla. Hey, 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 Peggy, Donna, it's nice to see you. D Real, SRK, Cinderelli, Janice, Nanette, it's nice to see you. Pussy Willow Pindercat, love to all coffee beans, love back at you, babe. It's great to see you guys. Is there anybody else below that? Let me get this done. I think we've got everybody. Let me see if I can do this without taking. Oh, cool. I can. Okay, perfect. It works well. Mary, it's nice to see you. Shining Star. Lady 7 Up. Hey, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. So we're going to kind of jump right on in to this next story. It is something I already heard. I heard it a couple days ago, but allegedly this guy here was having a conjugal visit in jail, and his wife allegedly he strangles her while he's having this visit. Let me see if I can just turn this up ever so slightly. Maybe it'll help just a little bit. I probably should have cut that just ever so slightly so his face is above my head, but it is what it is. So I figured we would read the article about this. And I actually, it's kind of like a bigger debate than that. It's nice to see you. Who else did I miss? I see a couple people coming in. Brenda, it's nice to see you. Betty fan. Hey, 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 hey. I hope you're doing well. So this is in Ione, or it's like, I don't even know, Ione, California. A lot of the crazy stuff happens in California. But in all fairness, a lot of stuff happens in Florida too. So I mean, I've got no room to talk. Hey Phil, Medic Biker, it's nice to see you. But the bigger question is like, it's kind of hard because I personally, and you guys are probably going to be shocked about this, but I personally believe that if you are married at the time of your crime, due to religious reasons, and that is a constitutional right, first and foremost, but other medical reasons, I think that conjugal visits should be allowed to a certain extent. I think once you have committed a violent crime, you lose those rights. But if you're in there for low level, crimes and non-violent crimes, and you're married and you have a family, I'm sorry. I do believe you should have family time, and I think you should have a place to try to maintain that family unit. Just my personal belief, but again, it would be one of those things that would have to be non-violent offenders. And this is kind of a little bizarre because I think this guy is in there for some serious crimes, if I read this article correctly. Again, I read it a few days ago, but it popped back up on the radar because it was picked up by True Crime. I read it before it got picked up by True Crime. It was just part of my research, and it was one that we were unable to get to one day, but it was pulled up. It says officials announced this week that a woman who died during a conjugal visit with her husband at state prison was strangled. On November 13th, 2024, around 2 a.m., David Brinson called officers using a family visit call at Mule Creek State Prison and said that his wife, Stephanie Dowse, became unresponsive during her visit. Officers rendered aid until paramedics arrived and took over. She was pronounced dead at 2:51 a.m. The Amador County Sheriff's Office announced Monday, March 17th, that Dowles died by strangulation. Officials are investigating her death as a homicide. Dwells was at the prison for a family visit, which, according to California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitations, occurred in private apartment-like facilities on prison grounds and last 30 to 40 hours. The California Department of Corrections Rehabilitation told KXTV in a statement, family visits are a privilege and incarcerated persons must apply and meet strict eligibility criteria to be approved. Only those who demonstrate and sustain good behavior and meet specific program requirements are considered. These visits are designed to support positive family connections and successful rehabilitation. Records show that Brisson is serving life in prison without the possibility of parole. He has been incarcerated since 1994. He was convicted of 4 counts of murder with a firearm enhancement. See, this is where it comes down to, I do not believe he should have been eligible. I mean, somebody that is, I don't care how good their behavior is. Manipulators are manipulators. But if you have a nonviolent crime, that should be the first eligibility requirement, is a nonviolent crime or other extenuating circumstances that may place you, like even though you were convicted of a manslaughter, you were defending yourself. There is a caveat to it, something like that. Yeah. Life without parole shouldn't get these privileges. That's my point exactly. In my state of Florida, it doesn't matter. You don't get anything. When you're in, you're lucky if you get to see, if somebody gets to see you face to face. Usually, with all the new equipment we have here, it's my understanding you can only use a phone that hooks to a computer or a computer monitor with speakers and microphone, and you talk to somebody that's like a mile down the road. Here in Florida, especially Manatee County, I don't remember when the last time our local jails allowed in-person visits. It's just weird. The only place, and this was back in my 20s, was a federal prison. That was the only prison that I've actually was able to have an in-person meeting or visit. So I don't know. Hold the show. 1994. What woman will stay married? That's why, if you heard, I had a caveat when I came in, and maybe you guys didn't notice it. I said married at the time of conviction, because yes, a lot of these people meet these online groupie pen pal people that I don't understand it, but whatever. And they have this, passionate papermance. I don't know what to call it. I guess now it'd be computermance. I don't know. I don't get. Listen, I don't mean to make fun, but or laugh, but it's hard for me to wrap my head around. I'm sorry, it just is. But there are people, and then next thing you know, they're getting married in the prison chapel, and it's like they're going away for life, but you just love them, right? It's like, what? Again, I'm not trying to make fun. It's just something I don't understand. Like, all the time in the world that people have their, sparking up romance through pen pals with a convict. I'm not going to say I'm speechless, but yeah. But what is your stance? Because I know we have a lot of critical people on the Bullhorn Betty channels, and you guys are sticklers like me. And honestly, if it wasn't that the people were going to be returned, I think that should be the requirement. Are they going to be returned back to society? And if they're going to be returned back to society, They should be trying to have a more of a domesticated type of relationship, and you would want to, in my opinion, in encourage this family unit structure. Not only that, but it's definitely something that those jail people would have something to look forward to. They would have a reason to be good, right? They'd have a reason not to get in that fight, not to get involved in that, that effery, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it would promote something, a more healthier environment inside the prisons if there were more. And quite frankly, because I think a lot of it is pent up frustration and angst, you know. But again, I still think that should be only to the people that haven't hurt somebody. If I don't want to say that nobody deserves. You go to prison, you've given up that right. I'm not that much of a stickler, because people go to prisons for a whole host of things, and the majority of the time, it's usually a substance abuse or some type of issue related to a life of abuse, of substances or other. Normal people that have usually decent upbringings, that don't have much trauma in their childhood, typically don't take these roads. And yes, and I say, with a grain of salt. I don't want to paint with a broad brush, because addiction does face, every walk of life. It doesn't matter what your ethnicity is, your age, your income bracket. It doesn't do that. But a lot of the crime can be attributed to a lot of the substances, and even some of those are pretty violent when they're in the grips of addiction. But if they're going to be in jail for 5 years, rehabilitation has to be the goal, because they're going to be set back out there in society with us. This guy here that's behind me, he was never getting out again in his life. He was dying in prison. Like, why is he getting a benefit that should only go to people that are going to be getting out of prison, that are going to be whatever. I just don't. They're never getting out. They're never going to have another semblance of a normal life outside of prison again. That should be to help promote people wanting to do better before they are released, and doing certain criteria. And I think education and a job and stuff like that should be a requirement in jail, because again, a lot of these people came from already drug addicted family. Now I'm talking about the majority, not other people but there's a lot of people that came from crappy homes, that never knew what a normal life is, and are just recycling what they've been taught their entire upbringing in life. And when they go to jail, there's an opportunity, to get them on a better path. And the only way you're getting on a better path when you get out there is to stop doing the same things that you were once doing. Most of these people didn't have steady income or steady jobs, or have an appreciation for a skill, or pride in their work. That's something that could be instilled, and you would, in my opinion, would want to promote that. But again, you're wanting to promote that on the ones that have a chance, not ones that will never have an opportunity again. I just think this was a poor decision. I don't know who, who would allow a murderer, already a convicted murderer, to be around another human being, is beyond me. Just my point. So we ran this story really a long time ago. This was done back last year. It was right on the heels of the 1 year milestone for, or excuse me, rather, the 2 year milestone for Kaylee Gonzalez. And were they in 2023 or 2022? I feel like they were in 2022. Oh, my stuff is just running together. Hold on a second. But it's driving me crazy. Oops. Idaho for, I think it was 2022. Anybody can tell me in chat? Or probably be quicker than me trying to find it on here. I don't know why my brain just went into a completely bonkers. I can't remember if it was 2021 or 2022. 2022. Thank you. I'm not going crazy. Okay. So it was on their 2-year anniversary. So right on the heels of the 2-year anniversary of the Idaho 4, this case came across my desk, and we kind of talked about it because this guy here used to be an Alabama mayor in a particular community. Let me pull the information back up. Why is it not opening? Okay, here we go. And his name is Joe Cornelius. And when I came across this article today, I recognized it by the name Cornelius because I remember talking about it, and I remember talking about the mayor in this area. Well, this is in Louisiana City, Alabama, and now this is all kind of making sense. So her son ended up shooting him and her, and he was an older son. And I don't know, I can't remember what actually happened. I think he was ultimately arrested for it. I don't think he succumbed to any injuries or was shot. His daughter is Keisha Miles, and they believe her 11-year-old son confessed to shooting both of them. And it was a really sad story. And I can vaguely remember going over this story, and I can't remember what I said, but when I heard the age of this child, I immediately thought, SA, because it makes sense somewhere along the lines. But I was incorrect because it wasn't the 11-year-old boy. What it was is that one of their kids, her 17-year-old, her 17-year-old appeared to show Miles confronting Cornelius about allegations. So she accused her father of SA, and her father admitted it. And so now the 11-year-old is confessing to it, but there is a possibility of this 17-year-old, but I think only the 11-year-old was at the home at the time. Long story short, now the only reason I'm showing this is because nobody understood what happened at the time. And now we know it was definitely a domestic situation that reached a boiling point when some of the family secrets became known to the family. And it seemed like it was very hostile at some point. Now, I don't know about this particular day, but I have to think that it was pretty bad, where the mom and her father are no longer here. So there is that. That's just an update from last year's article. Now, guys, this is very, very problematic. We hear about our children at risk at all times, and I've got 2 child stories that we're going to go over. And so for my families, my parents and my grandparents, please pay attention to this, because again, I try to stay away from the children cases on this channel as much as possible. And in general, unless it's something I can discuss without being too graphic. There's a lot of atrocities that go on across this country when it comes to our young children. It's quite sick, it's quite twisted, but we keep wondering how this stuff is happening. And Sound of Freedom really kind of was a wake-up call to a lot of people across this world about this HT and ST life that's going on in the shadows. Well, they have to be supplying this underbelly, this black market, with people, and the more people we have in this country, the more twisted some of these people are. It's hard to even go shopping. I just went to the grocery store on Saturday, and now we have to worry about our children literally being snatched right from us. This is this next story. Good gracious, stop it. A man tries to snatch a 2-year-old child at the Ackworth Walmart in Georgia. A child is safe after police say a Kennesaw man tried to abduct them at a Walmart in Ackworth. Police in Ackworth offered some additional details Sunday on an attempted child snatching that happened this week at a Walmart, and subsequently arrest of a 56-year-old Kennesaw man. What was he planning on doing with a 2-year-old girl? Ackworth police say a 2-year-old girl was nearly ripped from her mother's lap on March 18th as they were riding in a handicapped scooter at the Walmart on Cobb Parkway near Jim Owens Road. For me, it would have terrified the hell out of me, Sergeant Eric Mistretta, if I'm pronouncing the name right, with Ackworth Police. I would be very scared because I wouldn't want my kids to be like that either, or attempted to be kidnapped. I understand it's pretty scary. Mahendra Patel, 56, is in custody and facing charges including simple assault, simple battery, and kidnapping. According to Ackworth Police Department, officers responded to the scene. The mother told officers the man approached and asked for Tylenol before suddenly trying to pull her child away. Detectives used surveillance footage, flock cameras, and witness statements to identify Patel and arrest him on March 21st. He is being held without bond. Let me put this back up here. We got the wrong one. There we go. And Ackworth Police thank Cobb County detectives for their help in identifying the suspect. This could have been a whole different situation had they not acted so quick. So it shows you that the mom was handicapped. At Walmart, somebody approached her, asked her for some Tylenol or something for the headache, and she's trying to help this person out. And as she's going into her purse, being handicapped, he gets it close enough that he's able to snatch a 2-year-old child. And if that mother hadn't fought for that child and not let that child out of her clutches, we could be looking at a child homicide case. And we're glad that it didn't turn out that way. But this is getting very, very, very serious in our country. It is everywhere, folks. And when I say everywhere, I truly mean everywhere. This next one is also another abduction. This is a familial abduction. It sounds like a Toledo, Ohio father abducted his 13-year-old child and now has felony warrants for child abduction. And you don't want to get into a situation like that. You need to work within the system. I know the system can be daunting, and I know a lot of men feel disadvantaged by the system, and especially ones that want a relationship with their children. However, has this guy been violent in the past? Is she in danger of losing her life? Parents do terrible things, and we need to find her. Here's her photo right here. Her name is Kaimani Latigua, Latig, maybe? Kaimani, I think is the name. Can you guys see her? Oh, now you guys see my... There she is. Now let me get this down just a little bit. There we go. There she is. And father on the run now. Father on the run. Does he, this is where I don't understand. Does he think he's going to, how much harder does he think this is going to be? How much harder is this going to be to get any type of visitation with his daughter after this? This is horrible. And guys, before I close out this segment, I know it's kind of not a full segment, but that's just the day we have. I'm very glad for everybody that's here and watching this. But this is one that really just makes my skin boil. But I don't know. I'm praying to God it's a grandfather of some sort, because if not, this world is truly, and I mean truly, going to hell. A child was, a 6-year-old girl was found after being abducted from Kansas. And it was because of a traffic stop. But there were two 60-year-old men driving the car, which again has me very concerned, because in this article they don't tell us the relation. I haven't looked into the relationship or anything about this case. I couldn't find anything. But this is a missing 6-year-old girl. Excuse me. She was found in Kansas, not from Kansas. She was found in Kansas. A traffic stop, and 2 men were arrested. A traffic stop in Kansas led to a kidnapped 6-year-old girl being recovered and 2 men arrested. The Kansas Highway Patrol posted about the incident on social media Saturday, but did not say when or where it occurred. A trooper in the agency's criminal interdiction unit stopped an SUV for a traffic violation. Inside the vehicle were 2 men in their 60s and a young girl in the back seat. During the stop, the trooper learned that the front passenger had a warrant for his arrest from another state for kidnapping a 6-year-old girl just over a month ago. The driver had a criminal history, including homicide and numerous other weapons violations. The girl in the SUV looked to be the age of that missing girl, the troopers observed. The trooper and the local sheriff's office deputy detained the men and were able to get the girl out of the vehicle. The girl initially gave the troopers a fake name and date of birth, having been instructed to do so. The trooper calmed the girl down and got her to say her real name and age. She was kidnapped. She was the kidnapping victim who had been with the suspect for over a month on the run, according to the KHP. Thankfully, the men were taken into custody. Now, again, I am praying that this is some type of relative to this child, because we know what the alternative most likely means, and I don't want to ever think that. So, guys, sounds like family member. That's what I'm hoping for. It sounds like a grandfather or maybe an older father, whatever. So, it's, be careful with your kids. We just went over one attempted abduction, one familial abduction and custody interference, and we have another 6-year-old girl with 2 60-year-old men, and don't know the specificity of their relationship, which could be nothing too concerning to something very, very, very concerning. And it comes back down to our kids and our women are prey. And we have to start being very, very vigilant while we are out there moving about. And if you see something odd, if you feel something odd, an ounce of prevention. I think as a parent, if something feels unright and an officer came up to you and you've got nothing to hide or anything like that to worry about, I don't think it would bother you. I don't think you would feel offended, or anything like that. So just remember that it's about the safety of the children, not somebody's feelings. If you feel somebody is in danger, you should probably do a welfare check and call that in. You never know. If you see something weird on the road when you're driving down the interstate, an ounce of prevention. We've got children missing all across this country, and some are in a very horrific lifestyle. So if we see something and we have that gut feeling that something isn't right, call it in. Again, it's the ounce of prevention. So, guys, be careful. We'll see you. I'm not sure if I'm going to start the Brian Koberger this week or if we're going to start it next week. But we'll see where we go. I've got a lot of work to do today and a lot of paperwork and stuff to go over. So I'm sure I will be back before the end of the night. I'm sorry we're doing these shows kind of like our old style of doing the shows, but this is what I can do today because of how much work I've got on my plate. So God bless each and every one of you. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, don't forget to share this channel. We're trying to build our lunchtime breaking news update. We're trying to make, get that around and just have something to talk about on your lunch break. So sorry I was late today. We will get better as we roll this out, and then we're going to be at some point, I'm going to be creating a different type of vibe over at the Bullhorn Betty Coffee House. So I hope to see you guys over there when I start rolling out that one. God bless you and take care. We'll see you soon.